Gormagut, Lascon Corla. Minister, I thank you for taking the time this morning to hear this topical once again. I suppose we're all familiar with St Gabriel's Special School at this stage in Cork. It caters for children with profound intellectual disabilities and for children with a dual diagnosis, including autism. So they do incredible work there, and I think that needs to be recognised at the outset. Because the picture I'm about to paint about St Gabriel's isn't a pretty picture, and as I said, it's one that's been heard before. We've been talking about this since 2018. And I suppose I first became familiar with St Gabriel's on the election trail back in January 2020. And I suppose I visited the school as well as a number of other candidates, and I promised the school that if I was elected I would return. And thankfully there, Minister Abbott is sitting close by to you there, and she visited with me back in the summer of last year before restrictions came in. And I suppose it's safe to say that Minister Abbott too was appalled by what she saw and what she was confronted with. And I suppose there's only so many times that we can talk about being appalled. There's only so many buckets that will collect water from leaking roofs. So many electrical deficiencies in a building that you can say will pass health and safety. Children that can't access washing facilities, can't access toilets because their wheelchairs physically won't fit, you know, through a door. And that's how basic things are at St Gabriel's, and that's how, I suppose, fundamentally wrong what we're asking them to go in to work in every day, and that's from a staff point of view. But nobody can forget about what the children have to go through every day. And I suppose we look at other new builds across the country. We look at massive extensions going on to mainstream schools. And I can refer back to the Taoiseach's comments. Well, he wasn't the Taoiseach then, but back in April 2018, he too visited the school. And he reflected that parents say that they feel forgotten, that their children, who should be our #1 priority, aren't. And of course, the Taoiseach was right when he made those comments. I suppose, Minister, what I'm asking here today is, I'm aware that there's a number of engineers and architects that have visited the school over the last few months, and I just want an up-to-date report on that progress and where we're likely to be in the coming months, particularly the summer months coming ahead, as to likely work that's going to go ahead.
I would like to thank the deputies for raising the matter, as it does give me the opportunity to outline for the House the position with regard to the accommodation needs of St Gabriel's Special School in Bishopstown, County Cork. I'd like to point out that this matter has been raised with me by a number of public representatives, including my Cabinet colleagues and indeed on Taoiseach. St Gabriel's Special School is a primary school under the patronage of the Brothers of Charity. The school caters for children and teens aged 4 to 8 years of age with severe and profound learning disability, and those in this category with associated autistic spectrum disorder. The current staffing at the school includes a principal plus 8 mainstream teachers plus 30 special needs assistants, with an enrolment in 2021 of 43 pupils. St Gabriel's Special School is currently accommodated in a former primary school building. Another former primary school building adjoins St Gabriel's, and St Gabriel's has secured the use of some additional space in this property, as has already been outlined. Both school buildings are owned by the Diocese of Cork and Ross. This property has the potential to offer the school valuable extra space to meet its accommodation needs. Remedial work is required to the property to facilitate its use by St Gabriel's. The department has been liaising with the school regarding its accommodation needs, and an architect and an engineer from the department's building unit recently visited the school. It is intended that the visit will assist in identifying proposed works that could be undertaken in the building, taking account of the specific needs of the school. The department is also engaging, of course, with the Diocese of Cork and Ross as owner of the buildings in this regard. The department is committed to providing for the school's long-term accommodation needs and is considering all the options available. The department will continue to engage with the school in this regard. Enabling children with special educational needs to receive an education appropriate to their needs is a priority for this government. Department policy is that children with special educational needs should be included where possible and appropriate in mainstream placements with additional supports provided. In circumstances where children with special educational needs require more specialised interventions, special schools or special class places are provided for. This year, the department will invest over 20% of its entire education budget, or €2 billion, in supporting children with special needs. As a result, the numbers of special education teachers, special needs assistants, special class and special school places are at unprecedented levels. Since 2011, the number of special classes in mainstream schools has increased by almost 235%, from 548 to over 1,800 for the 2020-21 school year. 199 new special classes have been established nationally for the 2021 school year. Budget 21 also provides an additional 235 special class teachers this year, supporting the provision of over 1,200 additional special classes. An additional 990 special needs assistance brings the provision of special needs assistance to a record 18,000, indeed excess of 18,000. An additional 145 special education teachers, which brings the total provision to more than 13,000 in mainstream primary and post-primary schools, and an additional 23 special education teachers to be allocated to meet increased enrolments in special schools. Notwithstanding the extent of this investment, I am acutely aware that there are parts of the country where increases in population and other issues have led to concerns regarding a shortage of school places. The Department School Building Programme is focused on providing the additional school places to ensure that every child, including children with special needs, has a school place. This includes opening new schools and extending existing schools in areas where more school places are needed to meet the growing number of children living in these areas. The National Council for Special Education has responsibility for coordinating and advising on the education provision for children nationwide. It has well-established structures in place for engaging with schools and patrons. The NCSE seeks to ensure that schools in an area can, between them, cater for all children who have been identified as needing special education placements. NCSE continues to work with and support the families who have a recommendation for and are seeking to secure a special school placement. A number of meetings between the Department, NCSE and relevant stakeholders, including patron bodies, have taken place to consider how the demand for special school places in Cork can be met. The deputies will be aware that new special schools in Cork and Dublin will be established for the 2021-2022 school year.
Pádraig O'Sullivan,
Minister, look, I would like to commend you for the work that you have done up to now in regards to the delivery for special education provision in Cork in particular over the last few months. And obviously to welcome that new special school that's going to be based in Carrigaline. That's going to make a massive difference to us in Cork, where, as you know, we do have acute problems. But going back to St Gabriel's, and I suppose the specifics of that case, and as you are well aware, the majority of special needs schools, and particularly schools that cater for dual diagnosis in Cork, they are all full. You know, so this problem isn't going to go away in terms of St Gabriel's, and I do understand, kind of reading between the lines, that as far back as 2018, a department official said that they committed to the provision of a new school building for St Gabriel's. A new site is required to facilitate this, and the department is engaging with the landowner in this regard. Now, we're 3 years on from that department official's statement, and as far as I can see, we need to move this on. And I suppose, as far as I'm aware, there is a consideration being given to going in with another education provider on a new site. And if that arrangement isn't working or progressing, I think we need to think about how we progress with St Gabriel's on a new site by itself.
Just to confirm, to the deputies, I'm very conscious of the excellent work that takes place on a daily basis in the school. I'm hugely conscious also of the support that is provided for obviously the school communities, but indeed the support that's provided by parents and guardians and all of those who are hugely invested in the progress of the school, and notwithstanding in difficult circumstances, indeed also in a COVID-19 environment, all that is being achieved on a daily basis by the entire school community, and I absolutely want to acknowledge that. I also think it is important to note that, as I have said previously, the Department of Education is placing an extremely high priority on the provision and support for children with educational needs, particular educational needs. And as I've already outlined, over 1/5 of our budget for the first time ever is that $2 billion is actually being provided directly into the area of special education, and I think that speaks to our commitment. And I also, I suppose, want to acknowledge, as previous speakers have acknowledged also, for example, our determination in terms of progressing issues specific to Cork is emphasised and underlined by the provision of a new school in Carrigaline, and I think that's a very positive step upon which we will build forward. But in relation specifically to St Gabriel's, I want to say that the Department is absolutely committed to providing for the school's long-term accommodation needs and is presently considering all the options available. The Department will continue to engage with the school in this regard, and indeed with the diocese, as I've already outlined, and and all those necessary who will be stakeholders in progressing the future of the school. As I previously said, an architect and engineer have visited, and I think that progress in the last number of months is very positive, because it can be seen visually on the ground that we are committed to advancing this and expediting it as quickly as possible. And so I do wish to thank the deputies for raising the matter regarding the plans for St Gabriel's Special School in Cork. I want to commit to expediting it as quickly as we possibly can, and the progress that has been made in the last couple of months, I think, is testament to our determination to do that in the shortest time frame possible.